Hey guys, Crafty here again from Living in Beta, and today we have a unique weapons guide to bring you. The two weapons in question are the Mantis blades and the Monowire, both taking up the same arm slot on your character using very similar perks, a similar idea of perks, and very similar idea of attributes. Now of course both will be obtained from Ripperdocs in exchange for your hard-earned eddies. Sadly, there used to be a way to get them for free, both of them. They would spawn in loot caches around Night City. But it seems with patch 1.2, it's been confirmed that they have changed that and made them only purchasable from Ripperdocs. Rip for that. Now, in the video, of course, we're going to show you the legendary versions of both items. Compare their stats, usability, as well as talk about little builds you can create and how to use the weapon effectively. It should be a good one. There's obviously, if there's specific parts you want, feel free to check the description for the timestamps. They'll always be there. There also will be the chapter modules displayed on the video timeline as usual. Yes, it's sad they can't get them for free, but still well worth the money. First up is the Mantis blades. Let's get into it. Okay, so first let's talk location. Location for both the Monowire and the Mantis blades is actually identical now that you cannot get the items for free. You have to purchase them from a Ripperdoc. Now the Ripperdoc we're looking to go to is down the bottom left-hand side of Hayward in the Wellsprings area, and the closest fast travel point will be the pumping station. Now you can see the symbol on the map for the Ripperdoc, the old scissor icon. Cross the road safely without getting decked by a car, of course, and work your way up these stairs to the Ripperdoc. Now again, as I just stated, obviously there used to be many things out there. I said it in the intro as well, that stated that you could get the item for free, both items for free, sorry. Not the case anymore. Patch 1.2 removed that and made them a little bit more, I don't know, luxury when it comes to getting them. If you find anything or see them in a place where you can get them for free, then by all means give me a shout. I've done pretty much everything on this character and I haven't found them, so I'd love to find them for free if possible. So anyway, you'd go into the Ripperdoc, say hello, and of course we'll be going to the arms section of the cyberware, and you'll see here both the Monowire and the Mantis blades here for 55.5k each. Now of course we'll be focusing on the Mantis blades first, so I'll purchase those, but in general this is where you'll get both items and in the legendary gorilla arms and the projectile launch system as well. So let's move on to how the Mantis blades work and other hints and tips. Okay, so starting out with the Mantis blades, there's only one place to go to test these bad boys out and give you some more details. You've probably seen the farming spot video, it's in the description if not, but you head over to the Metro Mega Building H7 and you'll come to this farming location here. Right, so let's talk about the uses of the Mantis blades first. The main benefit, of course, is you can swipe just like a katana, but also, not only does that look epic, but you can also jump to enemies quite easily by just holding down the right trigger and then jabbing them in like a kebab and finishing them off. There's not a lot in game that gives you this much satisfaction. You can see the leap itself is quite a decent distance, and the slicing and dicing with the legendary Mantis blades we've got now is pretty much a one-shot kill when it comes to these situations. Now I do have to state, we'll go into attributes and perks in a second, but this main character here is a blade user. I am mained a katana character, so this Mantis blades will get a lot of benefits, and when we do the Monowire one I will also go into detail around the best things for that and show you how it works when you've got all the perks. But yeah, mostly it's the leaping from each enemy to really finish them off. If you don't get a headshot, it will jab them. And just the speed, really, of being able to slice and dice. I don't know if you guys remember the very first trailer that CD Projekt Red released, but it had that woman that was slow-mo bullet time getting shot, and she had her Mantis blades out and about, which was excellent to watch and looked cool. Reminds me of, like, it's okay picking up a katana, but you're in the future now, right? Let's talk about some blades that come out your arms and stuff. But anyway, so that's kind of what they do. You've got the leap mechanism, and of course you've got the jab mechanism, as I showed, where you shish kebab things up. Now, when it comes to your character and the build, there's kind of 3 to 4 main attribute areas to focus on. The first one is quite obvious, it's the reflex attribute. Not only does it increase your passive evasion from enemy attacks by 1%, which, as you can see on the right hand side here, as it explains it, this is excellent for those melee builds anyway, because you're running around a lot, you want to dodge bullets, most likely the enemies will be using bullets, and it's important to get that 1% per level. The increasing crit chance is good for any weapon you're going to use in game. Crit chance and crit damage are massive in this game, as you know, just gives you that extra damage. Don't need to go into detail about that. But as you can see in the reflex one, it's almost built for this weapon. It increases damage from Mantis blades by 3. That's excellent. Our Mantis blades are getting more damage each level of reflexes. At max 20, like you see here, that's 60 more damage just for having this attributes. Then inside, of course, you've got the blades perk tree. Now, it's obviously easy to understand, but Mantis blades do get affected by these blades perks. There's three important ones though that are really good to take even if you don't want to double down on blades. You've got yourselves Roaring Waters, which is strong attacks with blades, deal 50% more damage. Now you see when I leapt through the air with the Mantis blades, that's classed as a strong attack. You land that one, 50% more damage on top. Easy kill right there. You got Sting Like a Bee, which increases the attack speed with blades by 30%. Now, increasing the attack speed is massive with these. They seem quite heavy at first if you don't have any attack speed on them. But increasing that attack speed really will generate just more kills per second and also more damage per second, which is obviously important from there. And then kind of the final one, these obviously all affect it, but one of the bigger ones here is Blessed Blade, increasing that crit chance by blades by 20%. Is it not? It's kind of self-explanatory. The Cyberware itself has the increased crit chance, as you can see here, but getting that extra boost is always going to help. Now, the second kind of attribute area I would like to focus on if I was using this kind of build is body. Now, there is no perk tree in body that's really going to give you too much, but it's just the initial 5 health points and 3 stamina points, which are going to make you more tanky going forward in melee fights and also allow you to swing more with the stamina points. Then, of course, as well, as you can read there, increasing damage with melee weapons by 1.5%. You have this at level 20. Even at whatever level really, you're just getting that passive increase in damage with your melee weapons. Then of course you have technical ability. Now this doesn't really offer too much in terms of the perks again, the same as body, but it's just that initial tankiness you generate from having high technical ability. As you can see on the left hand side there, increasing with each level your armor by 5%. Which is massive. You're going to be running from enemy to enemy. You're going to be, having to dodge a lot of things, taking a lot of damage. So that extra passive 5% per level is really, really interesting. Now there is a fourth attribute, the cool attribute, that can get some benefit from these weapons as a whole. You'll see when you go into both the Monowire and this, that they have 3 sections here of mods. Now, the first section is the kind of damage type you want your weapon to have. So initially, when you buy the legendary Mantis blades, they'll come with a physical damage mod attached. Fast attack speed and combos, rapidly deal devastating damage, granting higher chance to dismember the enemies. So that's those ripping the heads off as you've seen, or arms and legs. But then you get these other 3, which really spice things up. You have the electrical damage here, obviously. Again, fast attack speed, but ability to shock, and does really good damage against drones, mechs, and robots. I wouldn't spec into this naturally for the drones, mech, and robot situation, but it's generally good to have. Then thermal damage. Everyone loves setting things on fire. Fast attack speed again, but also applying that burn, and very good against single target, as it says there. So those boss fights and things like that. And bear in mind, you can switch these in and out, right? So if you have a certain situation you're going into, if you're going to an Arasaka compound and they've got robots all the time, stick on that electrical damage. If you're going into a big boss fight, maybe it's the end of the game, or you know, those cyber psycho fights, stick on the thermal damage if you fancy it. And then the fourth one, which is why I left this one to the end, is the Mantis Blades deal chemical damage. Not only again the fast attack speed, but rapidly apply poison. Now, if we go into the character and the cool section in the stealth tree, you'll notice in here there's lots of things that talk about poisoning enemies and getting those status effects. You'll see here neurotoxin, damage from poison is doubled. So you stick that mod on, increasing that damage by double just because it applies that poison, right? And the same for, there's one perk over here, enemies affected by poison are slowed. Now, again, might seem very minor, but when you're attacking bigger enemies and maybe they're not dying instantly, poisoning them almost instantly with the mod on the Mantis Blades and then having this rattlesnake perk in the perk tree is going to be beneficial. So there you go, some really good benefits from that. Now, also in terms of making the item itself better, you have a Cyberware mod slot here, which allows you to increase the attack speed. You'll see I purchased the Haming 8 Rotor legendary mod right here, which increases the Mantis Blade attack speed by 45%. The rare one only does 20. There is a purple one in the middle that does 35. These are sold by most Ripperdocs anyway. Just bear in mind there is one better one here if you want to increase that attack speed even more. And then the third option allows to add more crit damage. There is a crit percentage one as well, crit chance one as well, and then there's an armor one as well. So this kind of section adds that additional to really spice up what the Mantis Blades can offer. And these 3 slots are only available on the legendary version of the Mantis Blade, so just bear that in mind. And then in terms of, you know, general things for melee, there is, I want to talk about this one Cybermod here. Now we'll go into more details when we do our Cybermod video, but this heal on a kill Cybermod is massive for those melee classes because you are instantly restoring 6% health after defeating an enemy. Now when you're in a big scrap like we were in there and things are chopping you off as you go, there's nothing better than killing an enemy to restore your health. It's one of the best play styles you can have. You're leaping around with the Mantis Blades, killing enemies, poisoning them, whatever you're doing. Each one's dying, your health's low, and then suddenly it's max again. It's the great way to play in melee, and I fully recommend it. So yeah, overall, Mantis Blades are very good. They're kind of the go-to thing for me when I was building this build. I knew I wanted to build a character that uses a katana. And when I first found out that Mantis Blades benefit from all those attributes, I was always going to delve in. I fully recommend them, as I said. But it does have something else out there to compete with it. It's the Monowire. Let's get into it. Okay, so next up we have the Monowire. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this to me is not as mainstream as the Mantis Blades. As I mentioned earlier, there's obviously the Mantis Blades in the very first trailer for Cyberpunk 2077, and this one seems like a very unique weapon that I've not really seen many people use, or it might be slightly overlooked in playthroughs. It was overlooked in mine, to be fair, and I'm thinking about doing a brand new playthrough around it. It's a whip kind of piece of hardware, as you can see. It's a wire that comes out of the wrist here. When you do like a large attack, it's more of a whip coming in. Obviously, you can whip that way as well. Very interesting concept, really. We're about to go and deck some enemies to show how it works. But, you know, the other interesting thing about this weapon that I don't think many people know or may do, but I didn't realize, it actually benefits from the blunt weapon skill tree in the body attribute. So I'll go into that in more detail in a second, but it's just good to know that you've got the blade perk tree for the Mantis Blades, and then you've got, even though this is not really a blunt weapon per se, you've got the blunt tree, or street brawler tree is what it's called, for blunt weapons here. I like that a lot. It means that it's not just a throwaway weapon, you can actually get some more benefit. The idea of whipping enemies to death and slicing them up with an electrified piece of wire there really does fit so well with Cyberpunk. So just have a little look. So obviously when you're approaching enemies, you can do the big attack here, which will whip, and you've obviously got the slice attack as well. One benefit this has got over the Mantis Blades is where you have to get up close and personal with your Mantis Blades, and it's got the jump effect. With this one, it's more of a little bit more ranged, and which really does add some benefit. As you can see, I've not used Street Baller much on this profile, but also you you're whipping like more than one person at once. So obviously the police are on me here because I've hit like 4 enemies there when it 4 people there when it comes to one whip. I can showcase it a little bit better here with these 2 enemies. So when you're slicing like this, you're hitting both. That wasn't showcased great, but you're hitting both enemies at the same time, which I think, again, you don't get that kind of, for want of a better phrase, AoE that on the Mantis blades that the Monowire will give you. And I think it's so unique. Like, I like the idea. You know, I'm not saying you're Indiana Jones or anything, because it's a Cyberpunk electric wire, but whips have always been like a cool weapon to me in fantasy. They've always seemed like something that, if used well, could be really cool. And when it's electrified, look at this, like you're hitting both enemies. 4.5k crits. Just really getting down and dirty with the whips is really really freaking cool when it comes to it. So yeah, big fan of this. There's a bug. So unique that it's actually intrigued me to the point where I think I might just build a whole new playthrough around it. But that being said, how can you make the most out of the Monowire? Well, as I said, there's actually some attributes that really give you some benefit for this. Now, the first one is the body skill tree. So not only attribute tree, sorry. Not only is it got the same benefits as the Mantis blades with the more health when you're meleeing, of course, is always helpful. More stamina, so you can swing more, and increased damage to melee weapons. Of course, that adds a lot. But as I said before, you've got the Street Brawler tree, which is all about damage with blunt weapons. Now, Mantis blade is clearly a blade. Monowire, for some rhyme or reason, is classed as a blunt weapon. I'm not going to complain. We get some great benefits. The main ones for me is Flurry, increasing that damage with combo attacks with blunt weapons by 50%. It's quite easy to combo with the Monowire, not only with the AoE of the weapon itself, but also, you know, it's not very single target with the Monowire, which I like a lot. So you've got more combo opportunities. You also have Payback, which increases damage with blunt weapons by 3% for every 1% health missing. Now, what you'll notice is there's obviously a lot. I felt like the Mantis blades had a higher chance to one-shot. Not that you can't do it with the Monowire. I have been doing it. But that extra 3% damage per 1% health missing is very handy. And then there's a couple more here. Successful attacks with blunt weapons regenerate your health. That's great. You know, increasing the damage of strong attacks, very similar to what we had on the Mantis blades there. Reducing stamina costs when you're doing it, and restoring stamina when you kill things. These are all excellent. Strong attacks with blunt weapons also reduce the armor. These really, and that little boost there, defeating an enemy increases damage with blunt weapons by 100%. These really do add a lot to the Monowire and make it kind of near on par with the Mantis blades when it comes to damage. Now, there is another thing to mention in athletics I didn't mention on the Mantis blades, but it's beneficial for both. This steel and chrome here in athletics, increasing melee damage by 20% obviously the second level there. That really is a massive benefit, just an overall damage benefit. So, and of course, in Street Brawler, you will have your own skill progression tree here, not like in Reflexes where obviously, because I've used blades so much, I'm now maxed with that at 20 blades. I've obviously got increased chance with blades, etc. because of that. In body, if you really double down on Street Brawler and these blunt weapons, you of course get lots of benefits for doing that as well. You're going to get more stamina, increased health, different stuff doing that, right? Attack speed, etc. So that's that. Now, of course, there is also the benefits as we had before as well, with tech ability giving you more armor. And again, a cool attribute here, giving you those poison things when it comes to stealth. Because the attachments with the cyberware on the Monowire are very, very similar. So you of course have the mods here, which increase change the damage profile to chemical or electrical damage, or again, thermal damage, which is very, very good. Thermal damage as well, giving you very effective against groups of enemies, which is interesting on the Monowire because it's obviously more of an AoE weapon. Electrical damage, very effective against rapidly moving targets and groups of enemies. So it's actually very, very multiple targets there as well. Very specified around the fact that you're going to be doing slightly more AoE with the Monowire and maybe not always hitting that one person, getting more benefit with larger groups. So that's interesting. It's a nice little thing to put in the game as well. And the second Cyberware mod you can get for it is Monowire Battery. This really does increase the damage of the weapon itself. Of course, you saw me use it without, but this big purple one here, increasing the charge damage by 50%, is very, very good. And then, of course, you have the same things as the Mantis blades here, increasing the crit damage. There is obviously the crit chance one as well, and then armor, etc. All the same benefits as before. So yeah, it's for me, there's a lot going for Monowire over Mantis blades. If I'm going to do like an outro or a kind of a final opinion on it, I would say that, you know, one of my favorite weapons in the game right now is the Mantis blades, just because of the build that I've got as a character. Really does benefit from the blades itself. And I was a bit of a fanboy just from seeing that again, that female in the first trailer of Cyberpunk 2077. But after doing some more research for this video into the Monowire, I really think that it adds a unique ability to your arsenal that can really help with AoE packs and just doing a bit more damage to groups of people, which you do really come up against in Cyberpunk. And even those single target whips, like, you really can do some damage as well with single target if you've got enough levels. It's not that it's not very good at single target, it's just more focused on AoE. That being said, both are really good. You won't go wrong with either. If I was you, pick something that really suits the build you're going for. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on what you prefer to use. If there's any, you know, hints and tips you've got yourself on what you prefer, or maybe, like I said, even the location of where you can get the Monowire for free or the Mantis blades for free that I've missed after the patch of 1.2. Let me know. We look forward to hearing from you, of course. Let me know your favorite as well. What does win out of Mantis blade and Monowire? If there was a choice between both, what wins? Let me know in the comments. But as always, thanks very much for watching. Share the video, give it a like if you liked it, tell your friends about it, give us a subscribe for more content like this. And remember, don't be a gonk.